Remember the warning, beware of wolves in sheep's clothing? In the real world, wolves eat sheep, and therefore shepherds are hired to protect the sheep. With political wolves, their abuse is just as serious but less obvious, because the sheep have allowed the wolves to set the guidelines under which they must operate. The sheep think that a shepherd, in the form of a safety valve, is not needed. They live their lives as if the wolves are their friends, their loving shepherds. Political wolves do not kill and eat. That would be merciful. They prefer to slowly bleed the sheep to death until they have everything for themselves. Political wolves make all the rules, have all the power, and are known to don sheep's clothing prior to every election. Therefore, the warning. They even bleat like sheep, pretending they care, but in reality, it is only to attain the sheep's vote, and the sheep act as if they never catch on. You see, the wolves have a game that they play every few years. They compete with each other to see how many sheep they can trick into voting for their group. And the rules on how to gain those votes have little or no teeth. They can lie, well, maybe not outright lie, but they can avoid the truth or stretch the truth without any intention of living up to that truth. After the elections, regardless of which wolf party wins, the wolves go back to ignoring the sheep. Then comes the portion of the game where the winner gets to huff and puff to see how many sheep homes they can blow down. But to win this part of the game, they must do this without being disgraced while in office. Put another way, the sheep's homes are their needs, their wants, their expectation of fair representation under a democratic system. And a great wolf leader is one who can ignore or remove as many of those wants, needs, as possible, while pretending to do it in the best interest of the sheep. Because wolves have set the rules of governing other than our vote. The only thing wolves need or want from us is our wool. They don't care if we are naked and cold. They continue shearing, because to them it is part of the prize they got for winning the election game. And to them, our job? Pay for whatever abuse the new group of wolves entertain. And it is our responsibility to do that paying without complaint, like well-oiled robots. Wolves don't care if we are intellectual. Wolves don't care if we want or need something. Wolves don't care, because they don't have to. All they care about is winning the next election. To hell with the sheep. True, wolves make promises, but nothing is in place to force the wolves to adhere to those promises. Prior to elections, the wolves even suggest changing the voting system, pretending that it will benefit the voter, the sheep. But all suggested changes benefit politicians, not you and I. Except, of course, for the Barnes theory of voting with its value vote ballots. Regardless of what system records your illiterate X, it has no teeth to guarantee voter satisfaction on anything except that which the alpha wolf also wants. Except, of course, for the Barnes theory of voting with its value vote ballots. We sheep need a home built of brick with its foundation on stone, so that freedom and people respect can withstand the huffing and puffing of democracy's wolves. We need a wind tunnel that can redirect the wolves' bad breath. We need the Barnes theory of voting with its value vote ballots. Canada's federal election has brought out the usual say-nothing advertisements. You know the ones. Do you Canadians want more of this or that abuse? Yada, yada, yada. My favorite? Harper promised to clean up liberal abuse. Sob, sob. Well, he did, and replaced it with conservative abuse, just like all governments have done and will do, because they can, because we let them. Each of those abusive government representatives have or will retire with their large pensions. And now we, Canadian sheep, are being asked to select a new group of Canadians who will be over-rewarded for underachieving. Let's look at a little bit of Canada's political history. Federal Liberals' $300 million sponsorship scandal. Padding the Senate with loyal Liberals, to name just two abuses. NDP, New Democratic Party. We will have to speak about them provincially, because they have not made it federally. BC Pacific Cat or Fast Cat ferries cost $450 million to build, sold for $19.4 million. That NDP government was told by experts the Fast Cats would not work, but the Premier and his team were having too much fun to quit. And now, let's look at the federal Conservatives. Today, under Harper, padding the Senate with loyal Conservatives. Yesterday, under Diefenbaker, destroying the Avro-Aero project. And that cancellation appears to have been for selfish political reasons only. One thing that political wolves have been able to do that we should admire is their ability to hide their elongated Pinocchio noses by including it with their elongated jaws, which makes lying look normal and acceptable. Because Pinocchio noses are hidden behind the large smiles which the big bad wolf's jaws produce, we often ignore that it is trickery, trickery, trickery. And even if we recognize it after the damage is done, we have no safety valve. When you get tired of this abuse, demand the Barnes theory of voting with its value vote ballot. In the meantime, don't complain, because you are getting what you ask for, just an illiterate X on election days, and to be ignored and abused by politicians. As modern people say, suck it up or change it. Choice is yours. It's your democracy, not the government's. They are supposed to be the servants of the people. It is time politicians adjusted President Kennedy's words to fit their responsibilities. He said to the American people, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but rather what you can do for your country." Politicians need to say, "Ask not what the people can do for politicians, but rather, what can politicians do for the people?" Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bill Barnes, developer of the Barnes theory of voting and designer of the value vote ballot. Buy my book. Help change the system. Bring back democracy.